Alan Dukes, after 21 years of football coaching, nearly 160 wins on the sideline, is retiring. Coach, I'm going to ask you right off the bat kind of how, why, how'd you come to the decision?
I think a lot of it was just, I'm 62 years old, so it was time for some young blood to come in and start doing some good things for us. I don't regret anything that I've done or that we've done here. But it was just that time. It was time for me to walk away. I have reservations about it, or I had reservations about it, but I feel good in my decision, and I feel good with the program. Who we left, Matt Malowski's going to take it over. It's in good hands, so I don't see any drop off coming out of our program.
Well, let's go back kind of 21 years then when you first got the head football job here at Lenox. Program was a lot different. You were playing a different game too.
Yeah, the first 9 years that I was here, we played 11-man. Record wasn't real good. It was 48-40. But after the first 4 years, or actually the third year, we were in the semifinals. We made the playoffs in 11-man for 3 straight years. So we did well, but it was different. And then when we decided to go to 8-man, it was. I'd been through that situation before in Missouri, going from 11 to 8. So it really helped us, have that knowledge about what to do.
Yeah. Let's go back even further. Talk a little bit about kind of growing up for you, and then where you're originally from, and where you went to school, and what you did in school, and then college. And take me through all that.
Oh my, let's see. Well, I was born and raised right here. My parents lived here all my life. After I graduated from high school, I went to the military. I was in the military for the Army from December 72 to November 77. I spent 2 years in Germany. The last 3 years, basically 3 years, was in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. After that, I got out, went to vocational school at SWIC. From there, I come home, had a business laying block, doing cement work. And finally, I got smart and said that, that's not a career that I really want to have. So, I've done a lot of different things. I've worked in the oil fields in Montana. I've worked for several different farmers around Lenox at different times. And then I decided, I want to go back to school. Because every job that I've ever had, it seemed like I was in some type of a teaching role or instructor. So that's what I wanted to do. So I went back to school, graduated from Northwest Missouri State in 88. Coached 2 years at Worth County in Grant City, Missouri, 2 years in Ravenwood, northeastern Ottawa, at Ravenwood in Missouri, and then I came here. I was basically out of education for 2 years as well. I came home to help take care of my mother. And then after 2 years, this job opened up, and I applied for it, and the history's there.
Yeah. All right. So Worth County and Northeast Ottawa, 2 schools I'm pretty familiar with. You mentioned the transition from 11-man to 8-man there the first time. Was that tough for you, or how'd that kind of go?
Well, when we first did it in Worth County, it was our senior class decided to boycott because they weren't very successful. So we went to 8-man after we'd already had our schedule set up. We had to basically forfeit all of our 11-man games that year, and then we had to pick up whatever 8-man games we could play. We played 5 games that year, which gave us some experience. But then after that, like you said, you're pretty knowledgeable of Worth County. You know what they've done since then. So, I think the transition it was more. I think it was difficult. Harder there than it was here. Okay. Simple reason because we had a big senior class down there, and they decided not to play. So here it was a lot easier because our numbers were way down. The last ball game we played in 11-man was against Madrid, and we were starting some freshmen, weighing 120 pounds up against 250-pound seniors, and it doesn't work real well. So we went into had a public meeting, brought the parents in. And said, we're trying to do this for safety reasons. There's just not any way we can really justify putting that size of kid up against somebody else. So the parents were all for it. The community has followed us really well. So, I think it was a great thing for Lenox.
So, okay, 8-man started in 2000. 2000. You started in 2004. Okay, the state started in 2000. So 4 years later. And then what'd you go to this? Did you go state championship in 05?
Yes.
So the second year there. So why was it so successful?
I think, well, in 04 when we first went, we went 8-1. We would have made the playoffs if they would have been taking the top two, but at that time they only took the district winner. Oh. I think we would have probably, I think the reason that we were so successful that first and second year was, the kids really bought into the program. The community backed us. We tried to, even the year before we went 8-man, we were practicing 8-man because we only had 17 kids. So, it's really hard to go 11-man against 17 kids. So we would go half line, both offense and defense. So it was very easy transition for the kids as well as the coaching staff.
So we stopped off there at 05, going to the Dome in the state championship game. What do you remember from? Did you just get an opportunity to play there?
That was fantastic. The kids really enjoyed it. It was an experience that those kids will never ever forget. They were the first team, actually they were the first 8-man team that played there because we played in the Dome in '98 as well in the semifinals against Madrid. So with 8-man, it was different because we had been that long stretch there that we hadn't been there. And, after we got there, the kids, that really motivates kids. They want to go back. They want to play there again. And I think that's a big push for any program. 2007, you said you went to the Dome. 2008 was the state championship year. I remember it was one of my first years working here. I wasn't at the Dome, but I had heard people were taking bets of how badly you were going to lose in that state championship game. Maybe one of the bigger upsets the state's ever seen against Armstrong-Rankstead. Yeah, that was a heck of a ball game. And I've went back and looked at the tape for the television broadcast. And one of the things that sticks out in my mind, they came out and said it was the battle of the Tylers. We had Tyler Peterson. They had Tyler Tondrum. And luckily on our day, Tyler Peterson outplayed him. But they were a very good football team. I think the 08 team that we had, we really thought our 07 team was better, but our 08 team really overachieved. They did wonderful things for us. The biggest play of that whole ball game was Ben Borland blocking the field goal that would have won it for them. So, there's all memories. Some of these kids will never ever get another chance to be up there. So it was a wonderful deal.
That game was so good. It was back and forth, lead changes. I remember the blocked field goal very well. There was another play. I don't know if it was a 2-point conversion where you handed off to the fullback, I think Hensley, the fullback, and then he pitched to Peterson for maybe a 2-point conversion that put you ahead or something. Where'd you draw that play up out of?
We've had that. We've always had this double option in our 8-man book. It was just one of those deals that we run it, but we don't run it very often. So we knew that they wouldn't be expecting it because we hadn't shown it for a few weeks. So what a time to pull it out, and then it works.
How about, I think, was that the year you won your 100th game? So there's a story about Brandon Klein kind of saying before the year he's going to get to 100, and that was, you were like 12 or 13 off or something like that.
Yeah, we were, at the beginning of the year, we had to have 13 games for us to win, for our program to have 100. And Brandon come to me and said, we're going to get it for you. And I just kind of, yeah, okay. You wanted to believe the kid, but you also knew what was in front of us. And then after we got beat by Lamoni that year, the following Monday, Brandon and those guys, that senior class, come in and they were rejuvenated. They were a completely different ball team. They went on a roll, and I don't think there was any way there was no way that anyone was going to stop them from getting to that 13th win. So, so it's kind of a special deal. We can win a state championship, plus they also get the 100th win for me.
2009 and 2010 rematch of the state championship in 2008. Those were good games too, just different results. I mean, it's some 2008 you'll never forget, but you won't forget those teams either.
No, our 09 and 10 teams, those two teams, they had every opportunity to win the ball games. Different circumstances. The first half of the 1 and 10, we were up. We had it by halftime. We were up on them, and then we just I think we set back. We didn't do the things that we did in the first half, and allowed Armstrong to come back in and take the win. So, you're always going to have those memories. Those three teams, and I can go back. My '98 team, the 07, 08, 09, 10 team that played in the Dome. Those are all teams that's going to be very special to me for the rest of my life, and hopefully it made a difference in some of those kids' lives as well.
Kind of move past just kind of talking about years here, and just talk about maybe your overall philosophies, strategies. What is it that has made this program so successful?
I think the biggest thing is the kids bought into it. One team had success, especially after we went to, I didn't even go back to my first year here. We went 6-3. And there was a gentleman here in town that come up to me and after that season and says, "You know what you just did?" I says, "I have no idea what." He says, "You went 6-3. Now this community is going to expect you to do that every year." And I looked him square in the eye and I says, "You know what? As long as we're competitive, we're going to be okay." And I think that really set the tone for everything that we've ever accomplished here. With the 8-man success that we've had, it's just the same thing. Our philosophy, I guess, is we're going to outwork whoever we're up against. We want to be more physical because Lord knows we've never been the biggest team on the field. And I can also remember one of our teams at the Dome when we played Tripoli. I can remember their coach afterwards saying, we never thought Lenox was that fundamentally sound, and that was one thing that we preached. We was going to be fundamentally sound, and we were going to do our jobs the correct way.
Moving on to some coaches here. I know you said some assistants that were with you for a long time as well. I know Matt was doing some volunteer stuff, but Christensen brothers definitely a lot of years with them.
Oh yeah, Tom Christensen, he's been with me for all 21 years. The first couple years, trying to implement my system in 11-man, we kind of butt heads because our philosophy was different. But since that time, we know exactly what each other's thinking. We know what we wanted to do on the defensive side. And then Lynn, of course, came on. I guess he was with me 17 years. And he was the same way. The first 3 years, I called all the offense, and then slowly turned it over to him, and he started calling the offensive plays for us. So, they both had a very important position for us. During the week, I basically had full control of everything that was going on. On Friday nights, I still had full control. If you see me on the sidelines, I have a headset on. I listen to everything that's going on. If I wanted to change something, I can change it without no questions asked. We just do it. But for the most part, those guys, once we put our game plan together, those two guys took over and ran with it. And in the 21 years that Tom's been with me and the 17 that Lynn's been with me, I think those guys have done an outstanding job. Tom, I can't remember what year it was. He was the coach or assistant coach of the year for us. So, we've been recognized for a lot of different things, but those guys have really, really helped this program out. A lot of continuity.
Yeah. I'll ask you about so did you know those two before? I mean, because you're from Lenox, and are they from Lenox too?
Yeah. Tom graduated in 71. I graduated in 72. Okay. Lynn graduated in 76, I believe it was. So, yeah, we knew each other forever. That even made it a lot easier. And then, of course, getting everybody on the same page really, really helped.
All right, so we'll go from your staff to kind of some other coaches that you butted heads with over the years, and I think it's kind of tough because we were just kind of talking there how, I was thinking Coach Hicks, Don Hicks from Stanson, but they're never really in the same district too often. And then I said Bob McCoy from Bedford, and they were 11-man, you were 8-man. So those are two poor examples, I guess. Who are some that you saw a lot of?
Joe Woolham at CAM, we saw him. And Joe and I get along great, and that's one thing that I can say, all the coaches that we've ever coached against, we've all had a very good relationship. Joe's been he's an outstanding football coach. He's a very good friend. There's Brian Nowlin at Lamoni, same way. Brian really comes and talks to me anytime he sees me. Those two guys, and I'm even going to throw Jeremy Christensen in. From Fremont Mills. Jeremy does an outstanding job over there. A lot of these guys that, I've coached against so many different people that a lot of these guys, I'm going to miss them. Just the camaraderie, I guess, seeing them on Friday nights or talking to them on the phone during the week. There's just a lot of different coaches around that's going to be, I'm going to take a lot away from them.
All right, so Friday night in September, August. What are you going to be doing?
Well, that's what I told the kids in January when I told them that I wasn't going to be coaching. I said, "You guys will see. I'm going to ball games, but you're not going to see me." And they couldn't understand the reasoning. And I said, "It's not fair if I go up and sit in the stands. It's not fair for whoever took over this program to." Some parent or people around me say, well, why did he do that? What would you have done? It's not fair. So I'm going to be, if it's a home game, I told the kids I'm either going to be standing in the parking lot or I'm going to be parked on the road on the south end of the football field. So, but I'm going to be there in different places, different capacities. Like I said earlier, Matt's asked me to come in and help volunteer to help him out once in a while. So that you never know. Now you might see me on a sideline somewhere.
Yeah. So I guess, and it also opened up a lot of time for you to do whatever the heck you want to do. I mean, you're not going to be, when you're a football coach, that's not just during the fall. So what, your family, what's going to be going on with you throughout the, downtime?
Well, this summer, it's to me, it's a typical summer. The only thing is I don't have to get up and come in and do weights anymore. But in August when school rolls around, it is going to be different, but I'm still going to be around the school because they hired me to mow. So I'm going to be mowing all the facility. So I'll be around. The kids are going to still see me. But other than that, I'll be able to go see my sons a lot better. This summer I've been able to see my grandkids play softball and baseball a little bit more. So it's going to be a big change for me not to be able to go out and do whatever I want to do.
Can you talk about that, the sons and the grandkids and all that? How many kids you have and grandkids you have?
I have three kids. I have two sons. I have one son that lives in Norwalk, another son, and he's married and has two kids, a boy and a girl. And then I have a son that lives in Okoboji, and him and his wife run a business up there. And then I have a daughter that lives in Thayer that is a para at East Union, and she's went back to school to become an elementary teacher. My wife works here in town. And a lot of people's already given her a lot of advice. Don't you retire because you wouldn't be able to handle both of you at the same time. So, it's different, but I think we're gonna enjoy it.
Coach Alan Duke's been a pleasure working with you, Coach. And I'm not gonna say, is there a percentage that you might come back at some point?
I don't know if I will or not. I don't know. I think after getting away from it for a year, it might rejuvenate me. But right now, this is the best decision for me and my family. And it's not anything that anybody has told me or what I needed to do. It's just something that I felt that I needed to do.
Again, a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you very much, Derek.